What's going on with y'all, man? We tapping in on this Monday night. Got a lot to unpack on this Monday after this loss, man. Giants lost to Panthers, one of the worst teams in the league, and that puts us at one of the worst teams in the league, man. But with that being said, we got a lot of news coming out on this bye week. We got to talk about Daniel Jones. We got to talk about Brian Daboll. We got to talk about this team overall, man, and what direction we're headed in overall. Appreciate y'all for tapping in on this Monday night. And yeah, man, let's kick it off. And ain't no better way. I had to bring my guy TP. Make sure everyone go subscribe to my guy TP. I got him in the building tonight, yo. What's going on, my guy?
Yo. Welcome to Rock Bottom, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Rock Bottom.
It's a
That's where
sick
we at.
feeling, man. It's a sick feeling, but we here, man. How you feeling about the team, man?
Oh my God, man. I honestly I did get to the point to where like losing has became numb, but I'm gonna keep it real with you. I did not expect to lose versus the Panthers, man. And that kind of like just when I thought that I was already at the bottom, there's a tier below the bottom that I am officially at that I can't believe it, man. Like there's games throughout this whole season where I felt like we could have won, where we
No,
should have won.
100%.
And this was it for me, man. This Panther game was really it. It's funny because this was like the joke. Like early in the season, I remember the joke being, we may lose to the Panthers. Like
Mm-hmm.
we would say that sarcastically. And we really just lost to the Panthers, man. So the bad news is that we are I hate to say it, but we are trash. The good
Yeah.
news is right now we have the number one pick in the draft. So that's
Yeah,
where
man.
we at.
Right now, man, like you said, I think the funniest thing is coming after a week that the Saints lost to the Panthers. Their first instinct was fire their coach. And you seen ex players, you seen current players, you seen all of them talking about, man, we just lost to the Panthers, man. Like we
Yep.
lost to the Panthers. And coming a week after that and performing the way we did, where honestly, it didn't in the beginning, it didn't even feel that close. It really didn't feel that close in the beginning, man. We were getting beat. They were
Oh
running
my
all over
God.
us. It was bad, man. But obviously they made it a game. But like you said, man, I don't even care the fact that they made it a game and almost won the game. It shouldn't have been a close game.
No, it
Um,
won't.
and we sit here and talk about this team week in and week out. We sit here and we predict the schedules and all that stuff. Coming to the bye week, I didn't have us at 2-8, yo. I really did not have us at 2-8. And that just shows how quickly things change, man. Things change so quickly. Remember how we felt after we beat the Browns and the Seahawks? Like this team
Bro,
felt like we could actually might be able to win some games. And now
I
here
look
we are sitting at this point, and
I,
it's
I
not
look
looking
I look
not
like a complete idiot now, man. Like I look like a complete idiot. And I gotta accept it. You know what I mean? I gotta take because if this turned out the way I envisioned it, the way I wanted to, I would be poking out my chest and I'll be talking my talk. So I gotta take the other side with it too. I accept the heat. And this is just it's embarrassing, man. It's really embarrassing because the team that we love just again they just never fail to disappoint, man.
yeah.
So
Yeah, most
yeah.
most definitely, man. And we go unpack a lot of things. We're gonna unpack certain positions on the team. We're gonna unpack certain coaching. I don't want to sit here and talk about everybody that's coming up in this draft class, but we gotta start peeking our eye a little bit, start talking about that on a weekly basis, man. But shout out to my guy Newsboy in the building. Sam, I'm happy we lost. Now listen, for the last couple of weeks, I've been pretty much saying, man, it's time to start talking about the tank. It's time to start embracing it. I thought last week was definitely full on, but like you said, I didn't expect us to lose against the Panthers. I really didn't. The Panthers have been a team that benched their quarterback, went to Andy Dalton, benched Andy Dalton, went back to Bryce Young. They're a team that you seen it yesterday. I mean, they didn't even look all that spectacular. They were just beating us at everything we could, everything you think that the Giants should have been able to match up with, we couldn't. And we talked about it early in the year. I think the last time we were live streaming, I mentioned it, man. If your team is struggling on defense, go ahead and play the Giants. You're going to be
Yup.
straight. If your team
Yup.
is struggling on offense, Go ahead and play the Giants. Your team is going to be straight. That's
Yep.
kind of what we've been all year for certain teams. And the only teams that we really beaten are teams that really couldn't like hone in on what we struggled to do. The Browns couldn't commit to the run. We got an early lead in the first half, couldn't commit to the run, so they couldn't run us out the game. The Seahawks, same thing. They refused to go to the run game, and they have kind of like a decent running back. I'm surprised they didn't stick to that game plan, and we were able to squeak that one out. And I think what goes, kind of forgotten, and W's are W's, right? You look at the Chiefs; they just made that, that blocked field goal to win the game. We were a blocked field goal away from potentially losing that one too. Like that's kind of what we were at with the Seahawks. We didn't block that kick. We're going into overtime. Who knows what happens? So it stinks to think that we're here and losing to a Panthers team, a bad Panthers team, man. Their roster is nowhere in comparison to ours, man. When you think about the receivers, think about the edge rushers, think about the DBs. Our DBs are kind of weak, but I mean, think about them. They only have JC Horn, and there's a lot of things, man.
For sure. For sure. And see, this is what's so tricky about where we at. And Newsboy, we're gonna have to talk about that. But that's this is what we're so tricky about where we at. It's that we clearly have the tangibles like to be better. So it's not the roster that is why our record is the way it is. It is just everything built around it, man. The culture, just of what we have become. I mean, really, I think there's a big pie. We could put the blame on everybody damn near. Some guys may not even some guys. Only person that I could really think of that may be untouchable is Dexter Lawrence. But outside of that, I mean, you can really put a lot of the blame on everything just as a team unit. And that's the unfortunate part, man. That's the unfortunate part. The theme and the quote that just to me summarizes this whole season is what my twin brother, who is a Panther fan, what he told me. Good teams find a way to win. Bad teams find a way to lose. And that's just us, man. We just
Yep.
find ways to lose. That's it.
No, that's 100% facts. Hey, before we continue to dive into it, man, everybody make sure you subscribe up to my guy TP. Shout out to TP jumping down this live stream in the building
Sir.
on this Monday night. I need everybody typing in the chat right now what you want to speak about with this Giants team, man, because we got a lot to unpack, y'all. We got a lot to unpack, and let's jump straight into it, TP. Now,
Yeah.
the first thing we see today, that's pretty much all over Twitter. But shout out to Newsbuddy, says, I don't know how the hell Danny got worse with better weapons around him. Yeah, man, we got a lot to talk about. But my guy, Brian Daboll, refused to commit to Daniel Jones today, man. They questioned him and pretty much asked, what are your plans at the quarterback position? And he said that we're evaluating, the whole team during this bye week. The Giants do have this whole week to sit in a bye week before they game plan for that game against the Tampa Bay Bucks. But I'm not going to lie, TP. I thought Daniel Jones was getting benched after the halftime. I really did. When you look at the way this team looked and you look at the way they were lethargic, they put up 0 points on a team that hasn't given up less than 20 points to an opponent all year. They had 0 at halftime. I thought there was no way we throw Dan Jones out there again. They did. He played a little bit better in the second half. I think, playing prevent defense definitely helped them a bit because prevent defense, I don't know why they continue to do that. Like playing prevent defense in a 2-minute drill clearly has shown like you're not stopping anybody from doing that. But Daniel Jones was able to make some type of plays in the second half and put us in a position to almost win the game. And Tyrone Tracy fumbles it. But overall, man, I expected him to get benched at half. I'm surprised he didn't pull that trigger. And right now, Daboll isn't committed to Daniel Jones. What do you think about that? Do you think Daniel Jones remains the starter at least for next week? I think it's inevitable this guy's going to get benched. I don't know how you feel about that. I think it's
Yeah.
inevitable, but specifically coming after this bye, does Daniel Jones continue to start for the New York Giants?
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, I know people, and I know people gonna get on me about this, and I know people don't necessarily like this statement. But when Coach Dable says that Daniel Jones gives us the best chance to win, I mean, he's not lying. He's not lying. Like, don't get me wrong. I think that first half versus the Panthers was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. But we can't act like he didn't give us an opportunity and a chance to win in that second half. And I think it was more on other factors outside of Daniel Jones when that second half came into it. Um, I still do think that Daniel Jones gives us the best chance to win, but I think at this point in time, I mean, I think everybody has that mindset of like, what's the point? What's the
Mhm.
point? I know that injury clause thing has been, circulating around, and that's a thought of ours. But after losing to the Panthers, I really just don't see a point. I can't stand Drew Lock. I'm somebody who will tell you, like, I do not want to see Drew Lock. I have nothing that interests me in seeing that. If we're going to play anybody, I would like to see DeVito. At least DeVito can do some things that can get the ball down the field. He could make some plays with his legs. He gives you some certain elements that causes some type of interest. But I think just overall, man, and anyone who knows me, I'm a Daniel Jones guy, but I just don't see even a point now. The Panthers was a bad loss, and so if we go ahead and sit them, look, ain't gonna be no tears for me. I think that it's a wrap. I think we've kindly come to the term where there's not going to be DJ after this season, and I personally would just like to see DeVito if we do that. That's just me.
Yeah, man. I think you hit it right on the nail, man. And honestly, I can respect what you're saying in terms of the Daniel Jones gives us the best chance to win. He really does. I don't think Drew Lock is better than him. I don't think Tommy DeVito is better than him. But I agree with you, man, in terms of, hey, he's giving us the best chance to win, but we're still not winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're sitting here at 2-8. We lost games that we should have won. And right now this offense looks lethargic. I'm more than willing to at least see what Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito got in general. I think we saw what Tommy DeVito did yet last year, and I still blame him because, I mean, if Tommy DeVito don't win games, you probably have another quarterback under center. I'm gonna be honest. Tommy
Yeah,
DeVito
yeah,
don't win
yeah.
those 3 games, man. It puts us in a position where you have to draft a quarterback. We were stuck in no man's land, unfortunately, because of 3-game win streak that Tommy DeVito gave us, and that's why we're still here today. So thinking about what we can be moving forward, I think definitely we should pull the plug on Daniel Jones. I think it's over with, man. Um, Not only just talking about the injury clause, not only talking about the way that the team is set up, I think they owe it to their locker room to try to throw someone else out there. Like, no, everyone talks about Daniel Jones is a great leader. He's first one in, last one out. I understand all those different things, but it's not working. It's not. The stat that's going on around right now is ever since his contract, Daniel Jones is 3-13 in NFL regular season games right now, ever since his contract. The stats don't lie, the numbers don't lie. There's a lot of things that point in different directions with obviously teams that we match up with. That Dallas game, you put another quarterback in there, we're not going to win that game. The one that we got destroyed last year, week 1. There's a lot of matchups that we've seen with Daniel Jones that if you plug in a different quarterback, do we win those games? Maybe not. But I'm more than willing to try to see it. You know, like it's at least a little bit of time to see. Hey, they gave Drew Lock they didn't give him a minimum salary. They give him around like
Wow.
what, $4 million, I believe, for a backup quarterback. Like they committed some type of money to Drew Lock. You might as well see what he has in him. I know it was mainly just for injury to see if DJ's gone. They need a quarterback to be able to do something. But hey, I'm more than willing to try to see what happens with Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito. And if we do see any type of improvement, then we're realizing, hey, DJ's cooked. If we don't see any improvement, then we're realizing, hey, this team is cooked. We have no
But
we have no way to
you hit
run
it
an
on the head.
efficient offense. Like, I'm more than willing to test that because once again, I don't care when anybody says, and I know some people love Dayball. They love him. I'm not liking what I'm seeing out of him either. I'm really not. The
Thank you.
offense doesn't look as honestly, the last couple of years under Mike Kafka, I feel like there was more schemed up things that we're seeing now. There really was. I think you think about what happened in this game, and every time we make it to the red zone, yo, I don't know what it is. Every time we make it to the red zone, where we get extremely vanilla. You don't see too much going on, or you see some type of trick play that never goes our way. I'm gonna be honest. You seen Malik
Yep.
Neighbors try to throw the ball to Daniel Jones one time. You seen, I think we had our tight end, or I think we seen Malik Neighbors try to throw the ball twice. I could be wrong, but I swear I feel like I've seen that in the red zone. Overall, man, like I said, we got to figure out what's good and what's bad. And with what, 8 games left, 7 games left in the season, man, we know there's a lot of bad on this team, but we got to start weeding out what we're keeping because if
But
not, it could get
see,
ugly.
you hit it on the head. You hit it on the head. Is the fact is this: Coach Dable has been able to get behind Daniel Jones and allow for him to take the bullets. And the thing is, when you sit Daniel Jones, now you're gonna have to answer to certain things. See, now what's gonna have to happen is if you put a DeVito in, if you put a Drew Lock in, now the criticism is and the light is going to be more on Coach Dable. Now, I think when it comes to reasonings on why we are in the position that we are in, I think Coach Dable has been able to escape well-deserved criticism, man, because a lot of these games has been his fault, and a lot of these games he has been completely outcoached. And the average New York Giants fan won't necessarily see that or bring that point up, because there's certain things you have to pay attention to in order to understand that. And so with me, even though I'm not dead on on Coach Dable to where I just feel like he's just trash. I don't think that. I think Coach Dable reminds me of Daniel Jones. Coach Dable is just inconsistent at times. When Coach Dable gets into his bag, that's when I'm like, let's go. Let's do it. And we look like a completely, different football team. But when he does certain things that is just like him hiding in a shell, and he's just not the Coach Dable that we got in 2022, or the Coach Dable that I look at as that smart offensive genius. Then it's bad. It gets really bad. You know what I mean? And so I think Coach Dable needs to also be under this spotlight. And Newsboy, I see that you say the stats are diabolical, which is there are a lot of stats out there that is crazy, right? But I do challenge everybody to just make sure you pay attention to the stats that actually mean something, because a lot of the stats that are crazy are like not telling the full picture. So I challenge everybody to make sure that they, you know, do some homework and pay attention to those.
100%. And I know I spoke on it, but tagging on to what you said as well, I do not sit here, and I know some people feel this way. I don't sit here in the position and feel like, man, Dayball deserves to get his next quarterback. I don't. I really do not. My thing is, if this team goes out and loses the next 7 games and finishes the year with 2 wins, yes, all of us that want the tank, of course, we want to tank, get the higher draft pick, get the quarterback, slam dunk, is what it is. Of course, we want those things. But for a head coach to try to lead a football team every
Yeah,
single Sunday
yeah,
and fail at that as many times as
yeah,
we might leave this season winning 2 to 3 games.
yeah,
There's no way I feel comfortable in saying, yeah, Brian Daboll should definitely be the coach. I think it was Bad Dog on Twitter, actually, with shout out to Bad Dog. If I think everyone knows who he is. If you don't, Bad Dog is one of the Giants creators. I think I saw a tweet where he was pretty much talking about, we fired or he was talking about keeping. Let me just pull it up. I don't even want to put words in his mouth, man. But all it was pretty much saying, we haven't been competitive for a long time, and yet after 2.5 years that we made it to the playoffs, we want to get rid of our coach. Damn, I gotta
yeah,
find him, man. He might have said it
yeah.
on Instagram. That
You
does
know,
not stop me from keeping Brian Daboll at all.
yeah, that's a fact. I'm with you on that, because the thing is, I know people keep saying, "Oh, give Coach Dable his quarterback," and I'm just like, "Yo, that's not football to me." Like, a good coach is a good coach, no matter what the circumstance. You're gonna see a flash of what a good coach is. I mean, you take an example of, Coach Tomlin, Pete Carroll. These guys haven't always had their guy at quarterback, but they
Yep.
make something work. Think
Yep.
about it. Geno Smith, when we found out that Geno Smith was the starting quarterback for the Seahawks, we thought that literally the Seahawks were going to be complete in the rebuild and it was over for them. And then Geno came out there and they had things clicking. They had things clicking, and he made the famous presser. I ain't right back though. That was that year. When everybody's
Yep.
like, "Whoa." You know, Mike Tomlin, he wins every year, no matter who is the quarterback. After Big Ben, Mike Tomlin is winning every year. You know what I mean? So a good coach is a good coach regardless. And winning 2 games, that's just unacceptable, no matter who you have at quarterback.
Yeah, man. I can't pull up the tweet. I don't know if it was him or not at this point. I feel like I saw it was him. I couldn't find it though, and it's not low enough for me. But pretty much, some people were using the argument, "Hey, we won the playoff game in the first year, and now we're trying to get rid of the coach of the year 2 years later." I don't care what it is. It's not what have you done. It's what have you done for me lately. And overall, he's not a Mike Tomlin that leads his team to a plus 500 record every single year. He's not that type of coach. He's not a Kevin O'Connell that can take a Sam Darnold and keep this team afloat. He's not doing that. Sam
Right.
Darnold is over there leading the Vikings team to wins. And right now, I believe he's starting to, dwindle down a bit. He's not playing like he was in the beginning. But overall, we haven't seen that at all with this coach. And this offense, remember, we got him because of the offense that he had with Josh Allen. And he helped Josh Allen become this next quarterback. Guess what? Daniel Jones never became that. And I don't care what anybody says. People are going to say that, Daniel Jones was not his quarterback. He didn't pick Daniel Jones. They gave him a contract under Brian Daboll. They won a playoff game under Brian Daboll. Of course he was going to pick him. People are saying that it was John Mara. I don't buy into none of that, man. Daboll was brought in here to help transcend Daniel Jones. We saw a glimpse of that. And even, bro, the further away we get from it, the more I feel like it's a fluke. There's no way you can't argue it's a fluke. That 2022 team, I mean, we were winning one-score games at a crazy rate that you're seeing us easily lose those now. Like that year was definitely different, and I can't think we should use that year and be like, Brian Daboll deserves another year. I don't think so.
Well,
I really don't.
I will say this about 2022 is just like what I said, good teams find a way to win, bad teams find a way to lose. There was something in that locker room and something that people believed in. There was something that Coach Dable brought to that organization that they found ways to win. They found ways to win. Roster-wise, we were weak that year. We were super weak. And so it's just, and also we can't take the good and the bad and try to, and try to dismiss the two. Like when Coach Dable took that 2022 roster to the playoffs, he won Coach of the Year. And everybody was on a high. Everybody was evaluating Coach Dable and saying the things that they enjoyed about him and saying, he's our guy, this and that. And then we just completely get to the point to where we like, oh, well, he can't do this with DJ. He needs his guy and things like that. It's like, yo, is he going to be the guy or not? And I'm not saying that, with DJ, maybe Coach Dable can't get to where he wants to get to. I will accept that. I will receive that. But there is no way that you can tell me that it is Daniel Jones on why we have two wins of the season.
Yeah,
Daniel Jones is not that bad, y'all. I know y'all hate to hear it. I get it, y'all. I know y'all are upset at him. I understand it. But with a good coach, we are not 2 wins. We're not a 2-win team. That's just it.
Yeah, man. And shout out to Paul in the chat, by the way. Appreciate you for tapping in, man. He says Daboll brought the wins in 22, but the locker room can smell a turd. Jones is a turd. Watch the play of Jones. Now, trust me. I think you touched on it in the beginning, TP, where you were pretty much saying like, yo, I look like an idiot right now, all that stuff. That's how I feel after 2022, because Daniel Jones had me sold. I was on a high. I said, yo, get this guy a wide receiver 1 and we're going to be good. Like, get him a wide receiver 1. He's going to be able to make those leaps. We got him a wide receiver 1 and we're struggling right now, yo. We are struggling. I saw that they said that he was struggling with like a hamstring injury in this game, and we know he's had a concussion and even he had to be out of the game. But I do believe Malik Neighbors has that potential, and we are not. Remember the Sunday, was it Sunday night or Monday night against the Cowboys? We had Malik Neighbors lined up in the backfield, making it through the offensive lineman and running a corner route. We were finding every single way to get Malik Neighbors the ball. And somehow, some way, we've gone completely away from that. And I know Daniel Jones is not the most accurate quarterback. He's not making all the throws. I know all these things. But even the game plan, we were getting ways for Malik to get the ball, and that just hasn't been the case the last 3 games. And I look at a coach that's calling plays that This is your best player. You drafted him this high. You're gonna feature it around him, and we didn't see that too much. Now, I'm not gonna excuse the quarterback play though, yo. I'm not. I know a lot of people were big on that 3rd-and-1 play that it was a flea flicker. Doing it on a 3rd-and-1 is crazy. Do not get me wrong. It is crazy. But I think we can all agree, TP. Then we can all agree Daniel Jones just got to let that thing fly.
Can we
Let
talk
it
about that? Let's talk.
fly.
Let's.
Let it fly.
I'm
And,
glad
and
you
I'll say,
brought that
and
up.
I'll say this, right? I talked about it on my video today. Did you watch the Cardinals game right after it? It was at 1 p.m. I don't know if you tuned in
I
on that one.
didn't. I didn't. I missed it. I
I was
didn't.
trying to look for the play and I couldn't find it. There was a very similar play. It wasn't a flea flicker, but Kyler Murray, the moment he did like some play action, pressure all up in his face, completely in his face. And he just threw that thing up because his wide receiver or tight end, it was a tight end at the time, was open. It was a moonshot. Nobody was around the tight end. He came down with the catch. That's all I want to see. Just let the ball go. Let
Yeah.
it go because I want to see my receiver try to get a chance to catch the ball, try to make a play. Even if he's inaccurate and people are going to kill him for being inaccurate, of course, he's Daniel Jones. At least give it a shot, bro. Let me hear your thoughts on it.
I'm glad you brought that up because see, look, one thing about me, and for those who don't know, I am not a parrot, man. I don't just start saying stuff because I hear everyone saying the same thing or everyone is, going on with a narrative. Listen, let's talk about that 3rd-and-1 flea flicker decision. I'm not mad at it. I really wasn't mad at it. We have to like break this thing down. You know what we've been like actually successful at doing? We have been super successful at the quarterback sneaks or our version of the tush bush. Like we've been anytime it's been 4th-and-1 or 3rd-and-1 and we get under center and we do that quarterback sneak, we get it. We get it. And so I'm looking at the situation. It's 3rd-and-1. I criticize Coach Dable for tucking into a shell and not being aggressive, just being playing scared. I like the fact that Coach Dable took a shot down the field on 3rd-and-1 because guess what? If it's an incomplete pass, you have 4th-and-1. And let's get to that quarterback sneak. That's a 1st down, and you live to see another day. So I'm not too mad at the decision. You gotta sometimes in order to be a good coach, you gotta gamble sometime and you gotta do things that are just not routine. So I'm not mad at that. Now, when it comes to Daniel Jones, I mean, completely awful. Completely awful. There's nothing that can justify him not letting that thing go. I don't know what he was looking at. I think that he was so afraid of throwing. I think Daniel Jones's problem throughout this year is that he's so afraid of throwing an interception is that he holds on to the ball a lot of times, and I think that was one of the cases. He should have let it go. There's no excuses, but I also find it quite funny how you know the first half I think that it was bad football. But I think it's funny how everyone, shows that play over and over and over again. And my question to everyone is, do y'all not understand that, there are going to be games that are bad. Every quarterback is going to experience a bad game. But what is your team going to look like when your quarterback is not on the money? Because I've seen a few people bring it up. I mean, the Lions threw 5 interceptions in one game and they've pulled out a victory. And that's what I say is this like I want this fan base to keep the criticism all around the board and not to just be lazy and just say Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones definitely deserves his criticism. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that we should keep Daniel Jones. I'm not saying that Daniel Jones is the guy. What I'm saying is let's evaluate this team as a whole because if y'all think that we are just a good quarterback away, you are sadly mistaken, man. And I don't want y'all to be fooled. And so I think when it comes to that second half, I think the supporting cast around Daniel Jones failed at that moment in time. And Daniel Jones did enough for us to win that game. And we failed because of that. So I mean, that's just my whole thing about that. And I just want to keep everybody on their toes. You know what I mean? Don't just be like, oh, we lost. You know what? Daniel Jones. Nah,
Yeah.
let's you know what I mean? Let's look at this thing.
Yeah, man. And I agree. I agree with you. We're definitely not a quarterback away. I don't think if we get a quarterback, we're going to be in the playoffs. Some people make that argument. You seen the way that run defense looked yesterday. We are not
Come
winning
on,
no
man.
playoff game. We're not making it to
Come
the
on,
playoffs
man.
if we can't stop the run the way we are. And it's abysmal. But like you said, man, and I'm glad. I was a little worried where you're gonna go with that flea flicker, but I agree. I'm glad you agreed. Dan Jones should just let it go. I got it pulled up here. Hopefully, I don't get like stream sniped or whatever. I got it pulled up here, man. I'm
This
gonna
the
take
flea flicker.
this is the flea flicker right here, man. And just watching it, man. I think it might be a little laggy, but
I'm not mad at the call, man. I am
just
just
let
not
it
mad at the
go.
call.
Let it go right there, man. Like for me, it's all right. Boom, flea flicker. Boom, ball in his hands. You see Wandale. You see him getting ready to go across the field. Right here, he should be low enough to let it fly. And it looks like he is, right? Boom, right there. Get rid of it. I don't care if it's short. I don't care if it's not where it needs to be. Because at that point, you're just trying to get rid of the ball. Yes, he does have a defender that's bearing down on him right here. Of course he does. It's a flea flicker. A flea flicker is not a play where you're going to have all the coverage
Yeah.
and time in the world to get rid of the ball.
You
That's
may
the point
take
of the
that
play.
shot. Yeah.
And what do
Hey,
we get instead?
and that frame that you was just showing, I think that he is literally like staring down Malik Neighbors to where he doesn't even see Wandell. I
Which,
don't I don't think he's I don't think he even sees Wandell. Because I'm
yeah,
looking, I think he's literally waiting for Malik Neighbors to clear. What is that? Is that a linebacker, I believe, or a nickel?
yeah.
Whatever.
You're talking about this man right here.
I think he is waiting for Malik Neighbors to clear. He is staring Malik Neighbors down, and he doesn't even see that Wandell is wide, wide open. And that is where people just
It makes
oh
me
man.
so sick, bro. You
Yeah.
have no idea. It makes me so sick. Because like I said, man, and I'll bring it back up real quick. Like I said, man, it's just you're getting it. Boom. You get the ball back. Let it go. Let it go. What is he pumping?
Yeah.
What is he pump faking for? Let it go. That's all I want out of him. And that's what I feel like will be the end all be all for Daniel Jones. He doesn't let it rip. Everyone talks about his arm. I don't think he's the most accurate, which we've seen in this past game. He has his moments the same way other quarterbacks do. He's been an accurate quarterback normally. He does have the arm talent to get it there. It's not that he doesn't. The problem is it's up here, bro. And I think you touched on it earlier. He's scared to throw an interception, and that's making him play worse. That's what he did. Like, I'm not saying he doesn't understand it, because I'm sure he does. He's in the NFL for a reason. But I just think he's cooked. Like, he's literally just cooked. There's no way around it. We're not going to get any more out of him in terms of him pulling the trigger. And you see it with certain hole shots. He's just not letting it fly. And that's my biggest issue, because if you're gun shy, I don't want you as a quarterback. I'm gonna be honest.
Right.
I don't want you as a quarterback. This league is definitely different, and you don't want to be turning the ball over left and right. It's not like Brett Favre or Peyton Manning back in the day when he first started. But the truth is that you're not gonna be able to win games if you're not making explosive plays. Let me catch him in the chat real quick. Macau saying, shout out to you, Macau, by the way. You can't say to get rid of Dayball, bring in a new coach with a rookie quarterback after Dayball and Shane laid the foundation for this team moving forward. And if the new quarterback has success, say that it's the coaching. I'm gonna be honest, you can. You really can. Like, I know you're saying you can't, and I respect a lot of things you say, by the way, but you really can, because at the end of the day, what foundation are they laying? Because I understand Gettleman, right? Gettleman, everyone's starting to read the praises of Gettleman because of Dexter Lawrence, Andrew Thomas, and at one point it was Daniel Jones, all drafted by Gettleman, and look at them being the stars of this team. I understand that, but that's not necessarily a foundation. And what is the foundation? We ain't winning games. We're not winning any games. You look at the draft picks that we've had, and we talked about it for countless times. 2022 is aging badly. 2023 is aging even worse. Bad. And the only thing that's being their saving grace is the 2024 class, potentially, with Malik Neighbors, Andrew Phillips, Theo Johnson. Who am I missing from this draft class?
Tyler Nubin.
Tyler Nubin. Like, these impact players are starting to play well. I understand, but I don't think that's necessarily a whole foundation. Like, these guys aren't out here winning us games right now. And who knows what the future can tell? They're only rookies, but out of the 3 draft classes, he's only had 1 good draft class. 2023, Deontay Banks is not a CB1, and we took him in the first round. Jalen Hyatt can't get the ball. John Michael Schmitz, he's probably the best player from that draft class, and that's not saying a whole lot. And everybody else is not even playing for us, yo. That's kind of where we're at. So I 100% think you can draft a new quarterback with the new coach, no matter what foundation was laid, because what foundation we got? A 2-18?
Come on, man. Come on.
Brian does deserve a second chance. Danny is buns. I don't know, man. Can anyone admit that Shane and Daves have had it and are tanking for Cam? I'm a 55-year-old Giants fan since 1977, and I have never seen such madness. Now, I can't say Joe Judge's madness was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to these last couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
But that could be the case, and that's what a lot of people said. You touched on the TP. DJ just might be the GOAT, like the slander GOAT. He's not the greatest of all time. That's funny. But like he just might be the one that's taking on all the blame, taking on everything, and it might cost or might give them another year. Like, hey, you couldn't win with Daniel Jones. That might be like the approach.
That.
Jake, the only person I would consider replacing Daboll with is Ben Johnson, the Lions offensive coordinator. There's rumors this guy, and I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe I'm wrong, but I think a coach's salary does not implicate or have anything towards the cap room for a team. But I bring this up to say that Ben Johnson apparently wants like $14-15 million, which that's what certain players are getting. Like he wants a bag. So I don't know how much that really has an indictment on him. But he does look good for the Lions right now, man. The quarterback criticism comes from us constantly trying to throw weapons at him to succeed. So the criticism is squarely on Jones. I can agree. Because you think about the weapons that were given him. Some were defective. Some were also just, killed by him. Kenny Golladay, Darren Waller, and now, Malik Neighbors is almost starting to be phased out. Like, it might just be on him.
Well, see, that's what I don't understand is where is the constantly trying to throw weapons? Because this is the only year where I could see that where I would say we have like really just like weapons. But before this year, I don't see where we really have the weapons to like say we helped Daniel Jones out. I think we really did set Daniel Jones to set him up to fail. And this is a part of the reason why the development isn't where he needs to be. Now, granted, this is not me making an excuse to say that Daniel Jones shouldn't be playing better ball. No, he still should be putting better games as a whole. I don't think it has been all bad like everyone is making it seem, but I do think that he's had the responsibility to do better things, and he dropped the ball when it came to that. So I think we do need to credit that. And I want everybody to understand, man. Don't mistake me from trying to say that I think that Daniel Jones is the guy, or I think that Daniel Jones should be here and get another shot and all these other different things. I am not saying that. I just see something past Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones sucks. I just see something past that.
Yeah, man, you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, it's just my camera got a little too hot. I forgot to turn on the fan.
Oh, okay.
Rookie move. But yeah, man, like you touched on it, man. Overall, it's just I don't think he's been dealt the greatest, team overall, the greatest hands overall. I don't think he's been dealt the greatest situation for sure. And like you said, this year, that's why there's been a couple years where I said this got to be the year, right? This got to be the year. There's been a couple years I said that. This year was most definitely one of them, and I'm sad to see the way it's fallen. I'm not done on Daboll and Shane. I'm really not. As you were speaking, I was just thinking about it too. Looking at what the ex-players that left this team are doing on other teams is a direct indictment on Joe Shane. Directly. And who are the players I'm talking about? Obviously, the most popular one, Saquon Barkley, and the other player, Xavier McKinney. Oh. That is a direct indictment on this team because we are not we have our opinions, right? You and I, we both create content. We throw it up on YouTube. We talk about our teams on a weekly basis. We don't get paid millions of dollars to make those decisions. Did I agree with letting, McKinney walk for that dollar tag? Of course. And even Saquon to an extent, I did agree at that time.
Sterling Shepard. I
Sterling
mean,
Shepard, we cut because we thought he was cooked, and he's out here playing well for the Bucks, right? Like thinking about those players leave and actually produce in other places is a direct indictment on us. Because what's the craziest part is, the way contracts work, how or the way the cap room is manipulated. They can manipulate it however they want, especially when they're on the same team. I believe there's a certain way with the signing bonus and all that stuff that the annual dollar amount that Saquon's getting for the Eagles, it wouldn't have been the same cap hit for us. We
right,
refuse to. He's balling out for them. Now,
right.
it took us 41 minutes, but I'm going to say Tyrone Tracy's him. So I'm not super mad. But Saquon Barkley, like outplaying us in one game is a bad look. Xavier McKinney having 5 interceptions when this team only has 1 to their name, and it was off of a deflection that happened in week 2, I believe. It's a bad look. Like these are bad things that are happening for our
I mean,
team.
we like I said, Sterling Shepard, Julian Love. I mean, the list goes on. The list
Yeah.
goes on, and this is a prime, but this also goes to my point. It's a prime example of when being coached right, you really get to see, the guys in a different light, and that unfortunately we can't get it together on this side, man. We can't get it together on this side, and so we need to figure out a way to where we're making our best players, their best, because what's going to keep on happening is they're going to keep on leaving, and they're going to keep on shining somewhere else, and then we're going to have that same old sad story where we're sitting there like, man, we had this on our roster, we couldn't get it together.
Yeah.
That is the big reason on why I make it an emphasis on not just to stay stuck on Daniel Jones, is because there are other factors, man.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, whenever you want to get there, you mentioned Tyrone Tracy, and when it comes to this Panther game, man, I want to get your opinion about when it comes to Tracy.
Cool. Yeah, what's happening right after these 2 chats? All I'm saying is give Daboll and Shane their guy at quarterback. We aren't a quarterback away, but I want DJ's deal off the books and see where we are after 3 years. I'm I'm hurting over here in Dallas. Hey, Dallas don't have a lot of things going on either. I know you're a Giants fan in Dallas, so you might get they only got 1 more win than us,
3 years though,
and
three
their future
years.
is bad. But yeah, man, 3 years.
I'm not trying to wait no 3 years.
And overall, like you said, we're not a quarterback away. But like I'm saying, I mean, I wouldn't be the most upset, right? I'm not gonna be brutally like weeping of tears if Daboll and Shane is back. I'm not going to, right?
Right.
Like I'm cool with them coming back, but I wouldn't be mad if they got fired either. If they got clipped, both of them, they both got moved out of here. I wouldn't be that mad. I wouldn't be that upset because once again, man, we went from I understand coach of the year 1 year, made it to the playoffs. We were supposed to we exceeded expectations that year. We were supposed to raise it the next year, completely wet the bed, and now here we are.
Yeah.
Getting rid of our quarterback that we pay millions of dollars for. Like, I
I mean,
just don't think you should save that.
and it's a lot,
Um,
man. If you start all over again, it's a lot. It is a
yeah.
lot.
H2O, shout out to you, my guy. He says DeVito cost us a franchise quarterback. We're gonna be saying that for years. And don't, bro. If we lose out, we draft the quarterback, and there's high chances it doesn't work out. Like drafting a quarterback at the top of a draft isn't a home run for everybody. We're still probably gonna be talking about DeVito even after the fact. He probably set this whole thing back up in general. So yeah,
Hey
man.
man, if we get Shador, I don't want to hear no excuses.
Yeah, no, that's facts. Hey, touch on what you wanted to touch on with Tyrone Tracy real quick.
Yeah. So, look, I know this is a thing, right? I realize that when a player, like for example, Malik Neighbors, he's our number 1 wide receiver. When he has a game where he is the shining star in our offense, let's say versus the Commanders, he's getting his receptions up. He's making big plays throughout the game, and then towards the end of the game, he drops the ball. Um, I mean, at that point, he would be a big reason on why we lose the game, because in a key moment, he drops a key first down, and We don't win after that. When we could seal the game. We go to Tyrone Tracy. I know people have different opinions on the interception with the ball thrown at Tyrone Tracy. Listen, I stand 10 toes in the fact that Tyrone Tracy should have caught the ball. Should have caught the ball. But then even after that, he fumbles in overtime. And so I get that they're fan. I don't know where this comes from, where all of a sudden all of these Giant fans are just nice and they're like, "Oh, like I feel bad for Tyrone Tracy and da da da," and and all of this putting a blanket over that. But I'm just me. I'm f all that. Like me, I'm like, man, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm not
Mm.
saying we should kill him. I'm not saying that we should do anything like that. But there definitely needs to be criticism when it comes to that, man. That just can't happen. That just can't happen. So my question to you is, I mean, what side of the fence are you typically on? Do you think that when a player carries you throughout the game and they mess up in clutch moments or towards the end, that they should face the backlash, or do you think that um they deserve some some just
Like flack.
lead
Yeah.
way in the situation?
Yeah, man. So I think the biggest thing, and honestly, right, I'll be honest, I really didn't care about the fumble or the drop. I really didn't. I really didn't. And I think the biggest thing, right, I don't think it's the detriment of the play or the detriment of the player. I think it's a situation, right? Malik Neighbors was balling out in that game and costed us with a drop that should have ended that game. We would have won against a division rival in week 2. So the moment was really big for him. He failed, and a lot of Giants fans right now will still say that Malik Neighbors has a dropping issue right now, right? Versus Tyrone Tracy did it in Germany against a Panthers team that sucks, and this team is bad. Like the situations just don't weigh itself. Which either way, if it was a more important game, 100%, Tyrone Tracy wouldn't be getting the treatment that he is. But I think it's also a combination of people are glad that he did that, right? Like people are
Yeah,
kind of happy that
yeah,
Tyrone Tracy fumbled the ball in overtime, made us lose that game because half of us didn't even want to win the game. So I think that's definitely like a reflection of it. For me, in my opinion, with this specific game, I didn't care. But you're right. In any other moment, I'm probably heated about that. I'm really heated. And as much as he's been playing good, fumbling the ball is something that he cannot do. And something with Saquon didn't fumble the ball often. So for the last 5 years of having a running back that didn't fumble often, and now we see Singletary put the ball on the ground, Eric Gray put the ball on the ground, Tyrone Tracy. I hate to see it, but that it just shows that there's certain abilities that running backs don't necessarily have like all throughout. So I
yeah.
still
That's a
think,
great point. That's a great point, and I didn't even think
yeah,
of it that way until you say it.
yeah. Even thinking about it for like what this team looks like with Tyrone Tracy moving forward, right? I think he's definitely going to be a strong piece for this team moving forward. Um, it's crazy to think that this guy was a wide receiver 2 years ago, and he's being able to be explosive because without Tyrone Tracy this season, man, and I said it all the way dating back to Malik Neighbors' concussion. I was upset because I'm like, who am I going to watch in this offense? Like, what am I going to watch?
Yeah, yeah,
Tyrone
yeah.
Tracy has been a breath of fresh air, and he's been nice to watch because he's ripped off some runs that you don't expect. He's looked like he can keep his contact balance up when he's getting
He's the
hit.
guy.
He's definitely like a force to be reckoned with, and I hope. But I'm so back and forth, man. I'm glad he's performing for this team, but I look at Joe Shane. You give money to Devin Singletary, and he's getting beaten out by a former wide receiver. Like he's been playing running back for 2 years, and you're getting beat out by him. I know Joe Shane drafted him, but you didn't give Saquon Barkley money. You flip it to Devin Singletary. Now Singletary's getting what? Probably 5-6 carries a game. Like, there's just so
Well,
much to it, man.
I will say, Devin Singletary, if he doesn't fumble the ball if he didn't have a fumbling issue, it would be more of a case.
Mm,
Like like I think a lot of it too is when that injury happened also as well. So you factor in those two things, him fumbling the ball and then him getting injured, it did allow Tracy to let his light shine some more. And
yep.
I think that I don't want to blame the coaching for it. I think it's actually a good thing. I like that 1-2 punch, that they have. But I think that just those circumstances alone is why I don't think because if you look at how Singletary runs the rock, I mean he still runs the ball pretty well. He
Yeah,
runs the ball pretty well. He just you got to hold on to the ball. You got to
yeah,
hold on to the ball. And also this brings to my point again. Next year, like I hope to see a difference because this is where coaching has to come into play. Like our running back shouldn't have this fumbling issue next year. Like we need to coach him up. Everyone knows the infamous, Tiki Barber when he had his fumbling issue.
yeah,
Coaches need to coach. You know, they got with him and they introduced how important it is to be high and tight and having that cuff around the wrist and stuff and it worked out for Tiki. So the same thing, man. Like
yeah, man.
coach is not a
Even
coach.
even looking at it, I like because I agree with you. When Singletary got his touches, he's actually looked pretty good. Like he did not look bad at all. But I'm telling you, the burst that you see out of Tracy is different than Singletary, man.
No, that's a fact.
Like
That's a fact.
those runs that he's able to rip off, Singletary is not ripping those off. And like you said, as a 1-2 punch for the future, I'm kind of excited. But it's even going like, man, being a Giants fan is so hard. And I say that because Singletary didn't miss no games, I believe, in his career until he played with us. Like he was supposed to be dependable, don't miss games, and he missed like 2 games for us. And it's like, of course he did for us, like the Joe Shane drafted or he drafted him in Buffalo, but he also signed him basing off of not missing games, and here he is, man. So as we were talking about, you wanted to talk about you brought up Shador, right? So we're here to of course, it wants to spaz out on me. We got the draft order here, y'all. We got the draft order here, right here, man. Right now, the New York Giants, your New York Football Giants, are sitting with the 2-8 record, second in the draft order right now. A lot of football to be played. Jacksonville is currently ahead of us. And in my opinion, I don't think Jacksonville is a team that's going to be selecting a quarterback. But I don't think that matters. If you have somebody in front of you, teams can trade up in front of you and take the quarterback they want. So my question to you, TP, is with us sitting at 2, let's say it ends at 2 right now.
Yeah.
Who is the quarterback you want? Assuming it's quarterback. I mean, maybe it's not quarterback.
If we don't get a quarterback, it's going to be crazy. It is going to be absolutely crazy.
Sitting at 2, man, you're on the clock. Who do you want? And this is super early, right? There's still more college football to be played. But right now, man, who are you selecting? And everybody in the chat, man, everyone that's in the building right now, go ahead and drop in the chat. Who do you want with the number 2 overall pick?
My ticket is already in. I don't need the clock to go down. I'm getting Shador, man. Shador. I know that there's conversations where I see somebody just commented in the chat, Cam Ward, but I like some Shador over Cam Ward for the simple fact that Shador, I've seen him play a lot of his college career with a broken offensive line, and he's put up the numbers that he's put up. I've seen him, just have the defense absolutely kill him. I mean, damn near broke. I was talking to Dash a little bit earlier on Twitter. I mean, they broke the man's back on how the D line was getting at him. But he consistently was getting up, stood tall in the pocket, was confident. That deep ball situation, y'all love a quarterback that can make those down the field. That is Shador. I don't think there's a throw that he struggles with that I see. He's smart. I think he makes smart decisions. He's not a turnover machine. I got Shador, man. And I think he can really last in this New York market. I think he's meant for the primetime lights, no pun intended. And I think he's fit for New York, man. So if we are at 2, we better get Shador.
Hey, and before I go, right, before I speak on my quarterback is a different take than Shador. But before I go, man, a lot of people talk about Shador with his whole, moxie and his attitude and playing in New York. This isn't the spot for him. I think that's completely bogus. But where do you stand on that with him being Deion Sanders' son, him, being obviously the focal point of that program, and he's taking over the nation. Where do you stand on him fitting in New York? Do you feel like it's a right place for him? Do you feel like it would be too much? Like, where do you stand on that?
Well, what people have to realize and understand is that when you have that aura about yourself, how is it going to help you or translate to on the field? I think that is going to translate well. You want someone at quarterback who is going to, first of all, everything. If you think about it, that's everything we people hate about Daniel Jones. Like that's what you want, and especially we've never really had that in a New York quarterback either. Like we're used to that dull, just just the not really that bright character in New York. Eli Manning, we're seeing more of his character now than we've seen all of these plays. So I think
Yeah.
we should welcome that. We should welcome a star. Let a star be a star. You know what I mean? And I think it's going to translate well to the players around him. I think Malik Neighbors in particular. I think all of these younger guys, we have a young team. I think they're going to welcome that more and they can relate to that more. They relate to that more, it's going to translate to on the field. So, hey, I'm with it.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, man, this is another thing that I want to touch on real quick because I'm gonna be honest. I said it as a joke, probably last year and even more now. I kind of almost believe in myself because I don't know. I'll be honest, man. People might bat an eye towards me for saying this, man. When the Giants draft a black quarterback, I would genuinely be surprised because we haven't seen it happen. We
Yeah.
haven't seen it happen. We barely see them start for us. You know what I'm saying? And I definitely think they should be the pick. But a lot of people say, hey, when will the Giants ever draft a black quarterback? We will see. I think this should definitely be the draft. And in my opinion, everything you said, honestly, you don't understand, bro. I'm getting excited thinking about it because I want to pair up Malik Neighbors with a Shador Sanders or Cam Ward. In my opinion, man, and shout out to Ryan. Case saying Cam Ward, but shout out to Ryan as well saying Evan Neal was cooking, not gonna lie. That just makes me laugh, man. Because hey, hopefully he's all right. Now the Panthers don't have anyone to note as a pass rusher. I know they have Jadeveon Clowney, but whatever Jadeveon Clowney still is at this point. I'm not really too big on him, but hopefully Evan Neal builds on him, man. Because once again, that's another draft pick bust that Joe Shane has at this point. If he's not playing games, Joe Shane is definitely at fault. But my New York quarterback next year should be Cam Ward. Cam Ward should be the quarterback. At this pace, he's probably going to end up being the Heisman winner if it stays at this pace, right? Like, there's a lot of games to be played. And honestly, Miami's schedule, I'm not a big college football fan, but this year I said I'm going to watch more college football this year than I ever have because I think the Giants might be drafting a quarterback. I've been riding with Miami this year because I live in Central Florida. And I'm like, hey, let me root for Miami while they're here. Cam Ward, let's see what he got. He plays a different brand of football right now, right? And a lot of people, aren't really too big on this, and I'm not the biggest fan. It's almost like he's playing backyard football out there. The way he's calm in the pocket, the way he's almost seems like nonchalant when a play is breaking down, but he's able to make a couple guys miss and throw on the run a beam to their receivers. And once again, man, I feel like evaluating college quarterbacks are tough because the margin of separation in college to NFL is so different, man. Like guys are completely wide open, but you also have to throw certain guys open. I feel like you see that out of Shador and Cam Ward. Everything I'm saying for Cam Ward is not like I don't expect it out of Shador. I just like what I've seen from Cam. I really have.
Yeah.
And thinking about it, right? I mean, Shador has probably a number 1, number 2, number 3 overall pick with Travis Hunter. Cam Ward don't really have that. Now, Horton is a good wide receiver, and he has another wide receiver. I can't remember his name. He's a good slot wide receiver, but he doesn't have a Travis Hunter that's literally going to be, a top 5 draft pick in this next class. So I think, you can break bread with certain things, definitely. But overall, I think Cam Ward should be the pick. And I would be excited to see him, whether it's Brian Dable or not. Like, because I just want a guy that's going to have arm talent and going to be able to let it rip. That's all I want, man. Like you said with Shador, he's never had a great O-line, and he's been making it work because guess what? You come to the Giants O-line. Are you going to have the greatest O-line? You're not. So I want to see him be able to stand in the pocket and make those throws, and Shador has done that. So, I mean, I'm definitely up for both of them. I think there's definitely a drop-off from Shador, Cam Ward, and then Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe might be the third quarterback taken, but I think there's a pretty big drop-off from there. So, Yeah, man. I think Cam Ward is a pick. I would be excited for both, but I'm really looking at Cam Ward, and I think we're gonna have to be at number one though to select one of them. I don't think we can sit there at two, man. It's gonna be
Yeah,
tough because
yeah.
hey, you might
I, I,
see.
I'm not mad at 2. I think 2 we could get it done. 2 we could get it done. Now, anything higher than that is a stretch. Um, but I will say I think those are the two major differences is what you brought up. I think that playmaker ability, Cam Ward has that. That's where his strong suit is. I think as far as just a natural thrower, a natural passer, someone who I think it would be just be more elusive in that area, that's when I have Shador. So you really just have to pick your poison. And yeah, when you watch these college games, really analyze what's going to translate well into the NFL. So, I mean, that's what it's going to be. But ultimately, I mean, I think if we're top 3, I think we can make it happen. I think we
Yeah.
can make it happen.
And like you said, I mean, if your eyes are set on both of them, maybe you're okay at two and you'll say, hey, I'll take whichever one is there at two.
Right.
But you got teams like Tennessee, Cleveland, Las Vegas. All these teams need quarterbacks that are behind you. Who knows? There's a couple games to be played, but New Orleans is another team that's going to need a quarterback. Maybe the Jets. Like, there's teams that are going to be calling for number one that's trying to trade up.
And so
And
what's
if
up with
you
Spencer? What's up with Spencer Rattler?
rather, he got benched out there in Dallas. I mean Dallas, uh, New Orleans. I don't know why I said
So
Dallas.
my thing is just, I mean, I don't know, I can't remember, but how common is it for you to draft a quarterback and then the next year get a high pick and draft another one?
I think you look at it, right? Look at the Cardinals from a couple years ago. They drafted the guy Josh Rosen. Very next year, they get a top pick. They said, "Hey, are they going to select Kyler Murray or are they going to stay with Josh Rosen?" They
Mm,
took Kyler Murray and didn't think twice about it. They drafted him right off rip. You look
okay.
at it with it's 2 years apart, but Justin Fields.
That's still
Justin
close.
Fields had a 2-year stint. Go select Caleb Williams. You
Okay.
look at the Panthers right now; they're probably going to do the same thing. And
That's
I don't know.
wow.
Maybe they're over Bryce Young, right? Maybe they're over Bryce Young, but they could be in position where they draft another quarterback. And this is 2 years after they drafted one. What's more wild about this TP is that we're in year 6 with Daniel Jones, and these quarterbacks are getting tossed in 2 years. Boom, get
Yeah.
off the team. Bring in another one. Bring in another,
Yeah.
and we've had top picks. We've had top picks, and we just didn't draft any. So that's what's more crazy. Shout out to Jabari in the chat, man. He said it's sad it took year 6 to realize that Daniel Jones is trash. Jabari, you joined too late, man. I wish you were here earlier. Jabari is very against Daniel Jones, man. But yeah,
Oh
man.
man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you for tapping in on this live stream, bro. I really appreciate it on this
Thank
Monday
you.
night. Once again, everyone that's in the chat right now, make sure you subscribe over to my guy TP, man. TP, let them know where they can find you and let them know what type of content you bring. Obviously, we love the Giants, man, but go ahead and let them know the good stuff you got going on over there.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Y'all can subscribe to me at TP Way the Giant. TP Way the Giant. Listen, real raw content. Sometimes the content is super duper raw, and then sometimes it's on the other side, man. But we're doing all types of things. We have our pregame, postgame show. We have our NFC East Soldier show where we have a representative from each team in a division, and we chop it up there. It gets real. Listen, I have a stream coming up soon, very soon. I mean, actually, not even soon. Sunday.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Yours truly, the Juke will stop in. We have Sneaky G Man, Cop Pizzle, Big Dash Nose, Born for Sports. It's going to be a live stream, and we'll be able to chop it up. And I'm expecting some fireworks, man, because it is a bunch of different personalities. So if you are a Giant fan, you're going to love it. The Juke, we just kicked things off this year, man, but we going to continue, to work together, man, and do things. And yeah, man, yeah, if you are a New York Giant fan / soldier, that's the spot for you.
100%. Hey, I want to second that, man. Everyone go subscribe to TP and pull up for Sunday, man. That's gonna be a lit live stream, man.
For real.
Cop Pizzle, Big Dash, TP, Born for Sports, and did I miss someone? Oh, maybe
Sneaky
myself.
G.
Oh, Sneaky G, man.
And you and yourself.
Myself. Hey, I just want to say that's gonna be a lit live stream, man. I do work that day, but definitely I'm gonna be tapping in, and I'm gonna jump in on there. It's gonna be a lot of fun, man. We got this bye week. We got a lot of content to talk about, but yeah, man, appreciate you for tapping in. Hey, I told you you're gonna get 600, by the way. I told you we're gonna get
it. Yeah. We there, baby.
1K is around the corner. Everyone that's been with me for a while, you already know. Road to 1K was my mantra for a whole year. And my guy TP is gonna hit 1K. Y'all need to make sure you're helping out. Shout out to Omega for jumping in and jumping on that, man. But overall, man, appreciate everyone that's in the chat. TP, appreciate you once again, man.
Thank you.
We are out of here. Peace.
Peace.